So we begin this press conference featuring 3 movies from the international section. All are in 3 different categories. The first film is Robe of Gems. They are represented by Natalia Lopez Gallardo. Hi, welcome. And she is the director, and Joaquin Del Paso, who is the producer. The second film is Soul's Journey. It's a Mexican film, and we have the director and screenwriter Claudia St. Luz, and the producer is Christian Kriegel. The third film that we'll be discussing today in this press conference is Cold as Marble, and it's an Azerbaijani film, and it's a co-production of Azerbaijan and France. And it's represented by Oktay Namazov and Natavan Abbasli, who is the actress of this film. So we'll begin with the Robe of Gems first. So few sentences about this film. It's a Mexican film, and it was earlier it has won the Silver Bear Jury Prize at Berlinale 2022 official selection, and it's also its world premiere was in Berlin. And it's about a story of 3 women in the context of violence in Mexico. And more we'll hear from the director and producer. About Natalia, she's a Mexican Bolivian filmmaker. She studied cinema in Mexico. She was nominated for Best Editor at the 2008 Ariel Awards for Silent Light, and Best Editor Phoenix Film Awards for Zuava and Heli. Her short in Heaven as It Is on Earth was selected at the Critics Week at Cannes. We have the trailer also. Can we have the trailer of Robe of Gems?
Ya va a ser un año que la buscamos.
Me gustaría hacer algo, no sé qué.
¿Por qué me hacen esto?
¡Órale, pinche güera! Son problemas.
No sabe ni lo que busca ni lo que está haciendo.
¿Cómo él?
¿Por qué querías venir?
No entiendes cómo es aquí.
No sé, jefa. No sé.
Lights, please. Yeah, the second film is Soul's Journey. Can we have the trailer, please? This film features in the Cinema of the World section of IFFI.
Necesito, no, esto bien, necesito 20,000 pesos por tu perro. Dame 20,000 pesos por tu perro. Dame 20,000 pesos por tu perro.
¿Cuándo sucedió la desaparición?
A las 6:19
¿Nos van a asignar un agente o qué va a pasar? Déjanos hacer nuestro trabajo.
Imagino que hiciste cuenta en Facebook y subiste alguna foto en Twitter, ¿no? Sí, necesitas que se haga trending topic. Yo conozco gente que ha recuperado su carro y su perro con eso.
¿Te acuerdas de los hermanitos que voy a ver cada mes? Ellos lo saben todo.
¿Usted está buscando el perro?
Señorita, muchas gracias.
nuestro perro es nuestra vida.
¿Cómo le eres para dormir?
No duermo.
For the third film, Cold as Marble, we don't have the trailer, but we have a poster. We can have a look at this poster. Okay. Thank you. So we'll start with the Robe of Gems. Natalia, how was it like shooting the film, and what was the main thought behind this film?
Hello to everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We're very happy to be in India. This is my first time, and for me it was like to be at home somehow, like a reality with so many layers, so many like contradictions, so alive, so many colors. The food is so great. So we are very happy to be here. Thank you to the festival. And Robe of Gems is a film that I discovered during the investigation, during the process of interviewing people in Mexico. As Pragya said, is the story of three women in the context of violence, three women from different social dimensions, three women coming from different lives. Mexico is like that. Mexico is a mix of lot of things. And I knew that I didn't want to do a social statement nor a political statement, because I didn't have a solution to this disappearance problem in Mexico. It's a tragedy that we are living in for years and years now. There are not only people disappearing, but there are murders, there are feminicides, there are all kinds of manifestations of violence. But I knew that I wanted to approach that theme through a psychological dimension, like trying to portray a kind of wound that I know that all Mexican people have. And I know that that wound unites us somehow. So this is a film that is like a tissue, disjoint tissue somehow, a fracture one. It's about the collectiveness, it's about looking to the other and recognize yourself in the other somehow. It's kind of abstract, but it's that, I think.
Joaquin, why did you go ahead to produce it? What was the thought?
So hello and thank you again for this moment. I know Natalia for many years. We worked together in a film where she was the main actress and I was the assistant director. The film is called Our Time by Carlos Reigadas. And we always liked each other and shared similar views about movies and about art in general. I think we have a similar point of view. And she approached me to talk about this project that she had, and she was looking for producers. So she approached me and Fernanda de la Pesa, who is the other producer of the film, and just had this idea of a film that was more about Isabel, about one of the characters of the film. So we started working on that other film, and at some point, as we were advancing in the financing and in the whole process, Natalia met these women, found out about all these stories, and she decided to change the direction of the film. She came later with another script, and we thought it was even better. So that was the beginning of the journey with this film.
So now, Oktay, it's an Azerbaijani film and it's a co-production. So just to give a brief glimpse of the story, it's about Akbar, who is unexpectedly released from prison after serving 10 years for killing his wife. His son, it's about a father and son relationship. It's a family drama, as you were saying. So can you please throw light on as to how the story goes and how the father-son relationship is shown?
Hello, thank you very much for coming, and thank you for organizing this beautiful festival. The story is very simple, actually. It's very simple. It's the story of an unsuccessful painter, an artist, and the film talks about how his life changed after his father released from prison, and the relationship between not only father and the son, also the relationship between the artist, the guy, and his girlfriend, and then how the relationship develops and gets like a triangle relationship between these three people. And of course, film contains other layers such as cultural and mental values that Azerbaijani culture carries, and you can witness some, this unhealthy behavior of society, how it affects also personal and individual lives. Yeah, that's basically.
And it's a debut film for Natavan.
Yes.
So how was your experience working in your first film?
Bu senin ilk filmindi ve tecrüben necəydi sənin üçün? Qısaca göstərin.
Hamıya salam, bəli,
You can
məndə
translate.
birinci film idi, debut işimdir və çox maraqlıdır, yaxşıdır. Ümumiyyətcə, bizim işlədiyimiz heyətlə, komanda ilə işləmək, eyni zamanda işləməyə stimul verən və bu işdə olmağa stimul verən oydu ki, ssenarimiz çox maraqlıdır. Belə, yəni maraqlı iş idi.
Switch on the mic.
First of all, thank you very much. And as a debut film, I was really happy to participate in this project because it's very rare to find, to be part of an interesting project in Azerbaijan, because it's rarely films, apart from commercial films, are being produced in Azerbaijan. And the first main motivation to be part of this film was the script. When I read the script first, and I said, okay, I'm really happy to be to act as a debut film. So that's how it started.
And how was your experience shooting with the debutant?
My experience, or
Yeah, yours.
it was not my debut film.
It's her debut film.
How was my experience shooting her debut film? Well, I to be honest, I found out here that it was her debut film. Because I saw her a lot on TV. I thought, like, well, she's been in a feature film, but actually, no, it's not. It was her first feature film.
Okay. So now we'll discuss with Claudia. In fact, for Claudia, it's the second outing at IFFI. She was here in 2013. And we'll hear about the film. It's about a 7-year-old Christian who's kidnapped from outside his house and the suffering of the mother in search of a Christian. So can we have, what was the main theme, and how did you go about, how was your experience filming this?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the festival. And as Natalia said, my country, Mexico, is very violent. We have disappearance every day. People are more numbers than persons. So I want to tell a story about that, but not being so literal, not being like, okay, I will see the same thing that I saw in newspapers or I see in ¿cómo se dice? Noticiero, in the TV news. So I want to change a little bit that from the point of view of the character. And as you see, the trailer has no subtitles, but I'm going to explain you a little bit. This mother lost his kid. They kidnapped his kid, and someday she received a phone call that they asked for money. So she have to find the money for they bring back his kid. So she suddenly say, okay, maybe I'm going to kidnap dogs to have the money for that. And I thought that because where I live, every day that I go for walking, like for thinking or that, I saw many, ¿cómo dice carteles? I saw many posters that, oh, this dog lost, the award is 50,000, and the people is more concerned about their dogs or their pets than kids, than people over there. So that's why I crossed that in my mind, and I say, okay, I'm going to do a story about this. But from the point of view of the character, how do you feel the angustia and the anguish and the you can't kill yourself like a mother, even if you feel lost, because who is the one that is going to continue looking for your loved one? You can't do that, so you have to keep going. So that's why I wrote that film, and I answer yes. Yes.
And Christian, why did you decide to produce this film?
Well, good afternoon.
Because he's my husband.
Good afternoon. So, we've been producing for some years together, and basically, this is a contract we have. Yes. So, but out of the many stories, we thought this one was a bit different, and it had like some approach to this problem, social problem in Mexico, that was a bit different, and it was like a portrayal of a psychological, psychiatric situation that we also wanted to talk about, and that's why we pushed for this story.
Well, I forced him, so that's the reality.
Claudia, you were here in 2013 also.
Yes.
So, what has been the difference you see this time and during your previous outing at IFFI?
A lot, because when I came the first time, nobody was in the cinema or for international movies. All one was in party and dancing. But now I saw people in the cinemas, and it's very cool that you arrive, and the reception of all the people is so open to the new kind of films. And also, the selection is very different. They have like international competition, like Octai, and Natalia's film, like it's like a kaleidoscope, a view of all the things that were very cool in the year. My section, that I don't know why I'm here, but that, and also these country horror films that you have, the Madness or something like that, that is, I don't remember the name. It's cool that they have a lot of, ¿cómo se dice? Diversidad. How do you say that? Diversity. Diversity. I saw that more in this year than 2013, and that's cool.
So now the house is open for questions from the audience. Yeah, please.
Very good afternoon. This is to Natalia. Sorry, I could not see your film, but whatever the brief introduction it was given, what we hear a lot about Mexico is, it is one of the gateway for many refugees or illegal immigrants to get into the US. So that with that kind of business involved, lot of this, whatever you told, this people going missing, other things order. So I wanted to know if this US gateway is one of the reason which is portrayed in your film, or what is the exact reason in your film you have shown why people gone missing or other incidents like related to criminal activities. I want to know. Thank you.
Switch it on.
It's a situation, a very complex situation. It's difficult to explain it in only one level. You cannot explain it only socially or only economically or only anthropologically or only spiritual wise. You have to see this tragedy as you see tragedies in the world, ecological tragedies, immigration tragedies, from different and very complex perspectives. It's a problem in Mexico that it's not only missing people, it's not only feminicides, it's not only that, it's many, many, many manifestations of violence through years and years and years. So what happened now in Mexico is the social tissue is broken. And for me, it's like a leak that it's behind the wall and you don't notice. It's not there. We live in Mexico and it's not, the violence is not happening in the streets. You don't go out of your house and your kid is kidnapped. It doesn't happen like that, but it's there. It's happening also in other places around the country. So, of course, the immigration problem all over the world, not only in Mexico, but the Central American people going to the US, crossing Mexico and suffering a lot of violence from Mexican people to them, it is a big thing. And of course, have influenced the rest of the violence, the rest of the manifestations of the violence. Mexico is also a country where people have deep nobility, deep humbleness, deep solidarity, deep happiness. It's a people that like in India, smiles you when you cross in the street. It's a people that opens the door of their houses and give you food, you know? So you ask yourself, why in a country that has this nobility condition, this warm heart, this happens? This tragedy, this terrible violence, because it's not only disappearance. There are like dismembered bodies everywhere. You know, how can a group of people can get to that point? We ask ourselves, no? And where is the evil come from? It's a very, very complex thing. So you cannot approach a thing like that with such many dimensions with one side.
Yes. Hello, my question is to Natalia. I saw the film yesterday. It's very powerful. You're the director and the editor for the film. So while shooting, are you very precise in the number of shots that you're taking because you know which shots you're going to keep, or are you still taking many shots and then at the editing table with a different person editing?
Of course, I love cinema that is constructing through editing, through creating meaning through the juxtaposition of frames. I think that shots doesn't have a singular path. They work in a system. They depend on the other shots, and that's the construction of meaning. Because I really think that cinema, it's an art to constructing ideas, not stories. Like, I think that literature constructs beautiful stories with images and create images in our heads. But cinema could create ideas in ourselves. So editing for me is one of the key tools in the construction of the cinematic language. I really trust the cinematic language and all the tools. I consider that not only narrative and plot are important and are only another tools that are also at the same level of moving the camera, sound, lights, colors, dialogues, everything. Like in a music sheet, you put the notes and some instruments are relevant in some moments and some not. The same thing in cinema. Some elements are important in some moments and some elements are not. So, responding directly to your question, sorry, I was talking about other things. I do thought about editing during the shooting, during the writing, and especially during the writing. The shooting it embraces you so much. The unexpected is there all the time. So it's difficult to be so conscious about what you are doing. You let things in, let things out, you take decisions, but you're not absolutely in control. But during writing you are. So I thought a lot about editing during writing, and then I enjoy a lot the process of editing, as for me it's a very familiar language. My pleasure.
Hello everyone, welcome to IFFI. My question is to Natalia. I was fortunate enough to watch the movie yesterday. So there is a very little dialogue in the film. Was it done intentionally to tell the story more with the silences and images rather than dialogues?
Like in life, I think that we don't talk and say things clearly. Sometimes we say something to get the opposite. Dialogues for me are sometimes to cover things, to not say another thing. So, as I said before, it's another important element in the package of tools of cinematic language. It's beautiful. I'm not so good at constructing dialogues. I suffer in the writing process and constructing dialogues. And also I was very careful about inventing emotions through dialogue, because I'm treating with people that don't live in the same time and space, I will say, of me. These people live in a very particular time and space. So I didn't want to invent something with words, and words are very, very direct, very conceptual, very meaningful. So for me, the other elements that are more open, as sound, as framing, as light, as say things and approach more the psychological part or the abstract part or something like that. That's why I use that more freely, those kind of elements instead of dialogue.
Hello everyone. My question is to Natalia and to Christian. You both said that Mexico has some issues and which also get reflected in your movies. How much impact do you think these movies or any cinema creates to create awareness and bring changes, specifically thinking about Mexico?
Very important. Christian, tú para variarle la voz.
It's very complicated to answer, but in a personal position, I think the only thing we can do is to portray something that can catch the attention of some people and sensibilize. The news are a continuous flow of really bad violence and continuous situations that are at some point yourself isolate from the news. You kind of become insensible to those figures, to those statistics. So it's another way of portraying it, and even if you don't portray itself violence, like in our movie, well, we try not to portray violence, it's so in daily life, in all levels, that it's complicated not to include in a movie that it's talking about the Mexico, the actual time of Mexico. there is always some kind of violent situation around your family, or around your relatives, or around friends, co-workers, that it's impossible to be not around that. So I'm not too optimistic, but we need to keep on doing this to portray, and to, from our standpoint of view, it's to portray people, not the system, not the injustice itself, and maybe from there we can make a difference.
Yes, I think that responding directly to your question, yes, I think that the manifestations of culture and human emotions and spirit communicate to the other human spirits certain experience that maybe could create ideas about things. Definitely, I trust in all the manifestations of culture and art, of course. But as Christian said, is complex. You don't know really how much you can affect people, because image, like the manifestations of audio-visual products in this consumist capitalism that we lived on, has been depraved somehow. We have seen so many images of violence, of pornographic images of any kind, food, violence, bodies, whatever you can see, you can watch it in the internet. So we have erased the value of image, really. Yeah, we are in contact with image all the time. So we have to, and the system we lived in, it's a master in capitalize the image, and become a product of that. In Mexico, we have this series in Netflix that it's called Narcos. Maybe you know, no? Narcos it's a product of this capitalism, consumism. It's the Netflix package this thing in a beautiful package, so everybody likes the package, no? But inside, what happens? It's a very, very delicate theme they are talking about. And they trivialize things. They trivialize this. So what happens next? The tragedy is normalized. So we live with the tragedy as a normal thing. It's super dangerous, no? Super dangerous. But it's happening with all things. And there's beautiful packages that we see in the internet. So, but of course, as Christian says, we have to trust, and we have to keep going, and we have to do little things in our lives. Because if I think there is a solution of any kind, it's a collective one. We have to do something together, for sure.
Well said, thank you.
Yeah, on to Mr. Oktay. It's very beautiful to see. Usually on these platforms, it will be lead actors, director, and film producers. Since as a DOP, it's pride to see you, because today from morning we have a lot of cinematography sessions going in everywhere. It's happy to see you representing, because in morning masterclass, one of our Indian cinematographer told we are unsung heroes. So on that note, how is your experience now representing your film? Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Well, actually, the reason why I'm representing this film, she was going to be here anyways. I'm representing because the director is at the moment, they are having another premiere in Tallinn, in Black Nights. That's why it's simultaneous premiere. That's why I'm representing here, and he's there. So we decided that I'll go to India, and he's been here all day. That's why I said, okay, I'll go to India. As a, how does it feel as an experience? To be honest, Yeah, it's my first time in a big festival, like being representing film, and so yeah, it's a nice experience. At least having right now, this experience. Thank you for the question.
Hello. Cold as Marble. Beautiful film. And I think your debut, right? Natawa. Congratulations. And you did a very good job. Just wanted to ask you, this movie is released all over world or going to release? Only in festival or theatrical release?
Okay. I'll translate and also I'll share the information as far as I know. Sen ilk filminde, debüt filminde, birincisi tabii şeyler çok güzeldi vesaire. Ve film o bir tarafı senden sual olmayabilir, sen sadece fikir bildirersin. Sual olmayacak, soruşur ki film sadece sinemalarda gelecek, festivallarda gelecek yoksa sinemalara vesaire şey olacak, distribüsyon olacak. Orasını ben cevap veremem ama sen mesela debüt film olmağına bağlı mesela teşekkür ederim olsun bir şey demeysinse tercüme ederim.
Thank you. Çox sağ olun. İzlədiyiniz üçün və fikirləriniz üçün, Asobo mənə dediyiniz şəxsi fikirlər üçün təşəkkür edirəm. Filmimiz təbii gözlənilir ki, sinemalarda da olsun belə. Təşəkkürlər.
Thank you for nice words and for your thoughts, sharing your thoughts. Regarding the distribution, to be honest, she is also not sure. I'm also not sure. For now, it's going only through festivals, but for later on, I think producer knows better, or maybe sales agencies, they know better. But we didn't have premiere in Azerbaijan so far. Hopefully soon we will have. As I mentioned also in the beginning, film has some intimate scenes, and it's not really common in Azerbaijan to see film with some intimate scenes. I mean, like open scenes. That's why we are having some tough times to screen it in Azerbaijan, because also the officials, the government, also it's produced by the Ministry of Azerbaijan, Culture of Azerbaijan, so it's not really common. You see in Azerbaijan that the Ministry of Culture produced or supported such a film. I hope they will not watch this. Thanks for the question.
Any other question? One question I would like to ask Claudia and Natalia both. Women are the most affected by the violence, as both of you have. Is that the reason why you selected women-centric film?
Señorita.
Claudia.
For me, it's more and very obvious reason. I identified myself with women, and it's easy for me to talk about my daughter, my grandmother, my mother, my friends. I work with women. I live in the countryside, and I work with many women in my house because we have a little studio there. So for me, it's easy to talk about women. So, of course, it's beautiful to see in cinema, and now I realize that the manifestation of these women, these women characters, and I am enjoying a lot this time in the world, in the history, that I am seeing many women directors and women characters. But for me, it was a very obvious reason somehow.
Claudia.
I think I choose a woman because it's natural for me. This kind of story is natural, and also because the role of the mother is very different from the father, since my point of view. So that's why in this particular story.
If there's any other question, or shall we conclude this session? So a very big thank you to all of you. Have a pleasant stay in India and enjoy your IFFI experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please sign on this.